All right, we are now live. So I want to introduce everyone to my great friend Kati. We are soul sisters. We have been on our quantum healing journey together, I think, for 5, 6 years now. 6 years?
Maybe six. Who counts the years? Thousands of years we've been friends. So.
Um, both of us have been on this kind of entrepreneurial journey plus corporate life and all this stuff. And, it kind of, I know for myself, like the whole process of having your own business, it's a healing journey on its own. And
Amen.
yeah, and you're really trying to figure out who you are in this process, and you're growing and shifting as you're discovering things. Um, and I don't remember what day it was this week, but you had posted something about how, like, really, once you really start to know who you are, that it's that things start to line up in ways that are like easy
Mm.
or easier than, like, you're not having to do that hustle. And that really stuck with me of like, yes, like, that is so true, and it's in alignment with like what I've been working on. And so, you have your retreat organized and scheduled, and you're getting people in, and so I thought it would be a great time to really talk about that stuff and help you promote, because I couldn't imagine doing a sailing retreat. Like, you hear of like Sedona and all these other like magical places, but a boat, like, wow. It's very different.
Yeah, and these Adriatic Sea, crystal waters, clear waters, it's so amazing. And I think there's around 700 islands in
Oh,
Croatian coast, yes.
oh, I didn't
So
know
there's
that.
lots to visit. So one week will not cover it all. I don't promise that. Yeah.
So talk about like how you started to step out of the hustle and the like trying to figure it out and make it work, to like stepping back and allowing things to happen. Because there was another post that you had of um like when you first introduced this retreat, it was like, you had a desire in your 20s to get a boat and learn how to sail. And and now here you are, like, maybe you don't have your own ship, but like you're going back to those roots. And I have found that so many times of like things that I was interested in when I was young, when I was in my 20s, and then like, went off in a different direction. They seem to come back around in different ways.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I think it's part of your cycles and the moments that they are ready to align with you. Because even though you have a big dream, that you might not be ready to fully align with that dream yet.
Yeah.
So that's, well, the story of my life. So maybe if I start with the boat and the sailing, well, as far as I can, I grew up on a shore of the lake. The water, whether it's a lake, river, sea, it's always been really meaningful and important for me. And yes, as I was 25, I almost bought a sailing boat with my husband then, and but then we thought that okay, it's too costly to keep it in Helsinki, Finland, where we lived that time. So we kind of skipped that then, and I've mainly sailed with my friends, and I'm not a professional sailor. I'm just kind of a friend, have been a friend who hangs out around the sailing boat and being with my friends. But that dream actually never left me. And last September, we moved we moved to Croatia because 2 years back I had a vision and dream to I was asking myself what kind of life I would like to live, because I'm over 50, and I was thinking my children are big enough, so I don't have the same hustle anymore than I had when they were smaller. So I thought that because I love travel, I also I do grid work when I travel, the energetical work with the land and environments. So the digital nomad, the dream of digital nomad lifestyle would be very, it kind of arose as a dream then. And it took 2 years for me to then actually move to Croatia. I still have my firstborn son here with me. He's kind of a special child, so he's here with me and our two cats. But in some point he will start living in his own, and then it's a bit different. Me traveling only by myself or with somebody else. I don't know yet. So when we came here, and this apartment that I rented, I came in the middle of the night, drove from Split to Kirk Island, and when we came here into the yard, I saw a huge sailing boat on the yard. I
Oh,
was like, okay, I have manifested one of my dreams here, but it's not sailing, it's here standing. It's actually still standing. It's kind of like a project boat for my landlord and his son. So they are building it or restoring it gradually. And I didn't then thought that I will arrange a sailing retreat in Croatia. Um, I actually one post I made the past week was the spot. I think it was 3 or 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was visiting the Brach Island. It's front of Split. I was visiting with my Croatian colleague at the time. I was visiting there, and I was sitting on the terrace, and I saw a beautiful sailing boat slowly passing us by, and I was like, and I just thought that it would be really nice to arrange some kind of a retreat around sailing. And earlier this spring, I saw ad in one women's business group of this person, Maya, and she's founder of Sail Goddess, and she was posting her sailing tours there, and I was like, oh my God, I need to be there. I need to be there someday. And I joined her webinar, and then I just hear me talking that, Maya, do you arrange kind of a private tours, or do you would you be interested if I would arrange a retreat on a sailing boat and you would be the skipper, because we share same kind of values, and she's a woman skipper and she's also has background as a coach and on the working with people with special needs, etc. So
wow.
we kind of rhyme in many ways with her, and that was it. We had a meeting with Maya, and then I was like, okay, September. And what is also special about that week is that it's my birthday week. September is very special time for me. Many times I've it's my circle. I start a new circle every year on September, and this year will not be kind of a anything. How you say that?
Anything
Anything
different?
less than the
Yeah.
previous ones. So that it wasn't short, but that's the story behind that.
I like that. And I love how like the name of her business, Sailing Goddess, like is also in alignment with like the quantum work that we do, that energy. So it's just like, again, that divine timing, that everything lining up. And it really goes to knowing who you are, like your true self, and what is truly in alignment with your vision. And I think for like, especially for younger people kind of starting out, where like it is that struggle of like, I want this thing, but I don't know how to make it happen,
Mm.
and to be okay with that, to like, to not let that say crush your dreams and say it'll never be possible, because again, it's holding on to that vision, and what does it get to look like? What do I need to shift within myself to bring everything into alignment? Um, because I mean, who knows, like if in 2020 you and I, like, I think we had been within each other's realms because we had similar teachers, but like if we didn't end up in that the quantum healing practitioner program together, and then some of Emily's stuff together, like things could have been very different for both of us. But like we have, like, Kati is one of the people that if I need healing, she's one of my trusted healers that I go to. So like,
Likewise, you.
yeah. And so like to have those people, and those things that like are going to create the shifts in your life, um, instead of like either giving up or like pushing so hard to make something happen. I, I can't remember like what the exact philosophy is, but like the more you chase something, the further away it becomes.
Yeah, and
And
that's actually point because uh, I know we both have background in business, and I sure know I can do a lot of stuff by pushing, and that was actually, I think, for the main of my career. I've been really pushing it and make things happen. Yes, I've created a lot of stuff and created a beautiful career, but in some point I was like, ah, no, this is not it anymore. And that was the moment I started to realize truly who I am and started the different kind of journey.
yeah,
And when we came here, well, going back 11 years, I started my first company because I thought that the corporate business didn't give me the room for my more spiritual side of me, who I truly am, and was actually kind of a learning. I think it was you who posted this ET, the movie character ET dressed like a woman, and you said this reminds me of you trying to kind of incorporate the spirituality and this business, corporate business stuff together. And truly, that has been the journey for me, maybe past 20 years, because I've always been, since child, I've been very sensitive, intuitive. Of course, I've used that in business as well.
yeah,
So that intuition and but it was more like pushing. But then when I started my own business, I kind of started to question, okay, what is the right way to do this? And and when you align with your true energy, then suddenly things just start to click. You magnetize the clients and the
mhm,
business you are meant to do and serve. And
yeah,
also the other side, you see very quickly when you are not aligned anymore,
yeah,
and that kind of a is a slap in your face. Okay, now I need to refocus and realign. And that's many times my clients come when they are at these crossroads of
yeah,
something. The old doesn't anymore fit, and the new is not even, they might not even have a vision what it could be. So I'm there in that moment, in the messy middle, you
yeah,
could say. Because that's where people many times they freeze, they get numb, they they just can't move forward because there's nothing inspiring them in that when they are releasing the old and the new is not yet here.
Yep.
And people get kind of like irritated in that process because, oh, I want it, but I'm not there yet.
Yep. Well, and even the that struggle of like, you know what you want, but you've been conditioned from like your parents, or even like conditioned at work of like, you have to show up a certain way, you have to be like this, even when you're like on the inside, it's fucking killing you. And you're like, I'm dying here, but yeah, I make good money, but I'm dying. My soul is dying here. It's, I love how like, we're on similar paths in different ways. Like I've got my Forge program, which is kind of like helping people to really know who they are, to like clear out the things that are stopping them. And I know I took you like, as I was really learning this stuff, like I've taken you like in my own journey of like getting to the Forge. I've taken you through like the human design and gene key stuff a lot. And most of the time, like when I take people through it, they're like, that's exactly like, that's who I am. But all these people, all these situations, like made me feel bad and wrong for wanting to do those things, or it goes against what, you know, corporate America says we're supposed to do, or business, is saying we're supposed to do things this way. But like, I know in my heart that that's not right for me. But like, because they don't have the validation of like, no, the way that you want to do business is the right way. It may like, maybe it'll take a little bit more time because you you're you're catching people who are in that space of wanting to do things differently, and they're not quite ready. So like, be prepared. Like, instead of something happening overnight, it maybe takes 6 months of getting the branding right, getting everything like in a line, and getting that message so clear that like somebody says, "Oh my God, that's what I want." Like, that's where I'm at, and like really seeing themselves there.
Yes. And because I've built this until this point, I have background of 11 years as entrepreneur, but I ended up making a bad business deal with a narcissistic person after I was 4 years in business. Well, that kind of collapsed everything. I lost everything. My company went bankrupt, and I had to kind of get up the bits and pieces of me around and put it up again.
Yep.
And I created, just when the COVID started, um, I started my second company, kind of coaching and energy healing, and I was doing that for 1 year, and then I was called from city's office and asked for. I was asked for a job to join the labor services as a coach and project manager, and I was doing that. But during that time, I did love what I was doing. We had a great team, but still, I had this feeling inside that this is not it. And that's why I started to go towards back to entrepreneurship. That's my thing. That's kind of a like where I'm best at, and helping people in their different moments.
Yep.
And now I have relaunched my business, and this sailing retreat is one part of my services.
Yeah. And I like, you hit the nail on the head of like, the times that I've been back in corporate since 2020. Like, I loved the people that I worked with at Toshiba. I loved like the women's networking group, and that was like the place where I could take some of what I was doing in my own business and bring it into corporate. But at the same time, it's like, this isn't really where I want to be per se. Like, I want to write, but I want to write for me and the things that light me up. And, I want to help people heal. And, like in my human design, it talks a lot about like I'm this bridge between like this practical kind of corporate world and this spiritual world. And like I've always struggled with this. Like I'm I'm too corporate for pure spiritual people, and I'm too spiritual for like real corporate people. And so I'm like, what do you mean like I'm this bridge? Like how can I be a bridge when I don't quite fit in either one of these categories? And recently it was like what came to my awareness was like I'm not supposed to be on either side. I'm supposed to be in the middle, and like somebody who's in corporate who like is starting to wake up to their spiritual gifts and everything, needs help like bridging over like how do you balance corporate life with spiritual life. I've done that my whole entire life because I've always been the weird person in corporate. Like I was doing martial arts and there was all kinds of energy healing and weird things that I did there, and then in my own recovery from my illness, like reopening to my spiritual gifts. Like I've always been that weird person in corporate. It's like I know how to, like, if you want to stay in corporate, like how you can balance both of those. And if you're in the spiritual world and you're like I've got the spiritual aspect down, but like I don't know how to anchor in my business properly. And so like I'm struggling financially, or I'm struggling to do things right, or like I've been doing my spiritual business for a while, but all of a sudden it's just not feeling right. Well, where are you out of alignment? What is your true self? What is your true purpose? And like how do we build that? And for me, like one of the things I've always admired about you is like you had a clear vision of your branding. And I think that's like, you've had more experience with the entrepreneurial stuff than I have. So like you had a clear vision for yourself. For me, it's like I knew parts of what I wanted as my brand, but I didn't know how to really properly convey it. And so like I'd get stuff that was like, well, this is close enough. I'll make it work, but it was like never quite right. I wasn't quite happy. And so like going through this process of really how do you brand yourself? How do you allow yourself to stand out from everybody else? Which again is one of the things I've really always admired about you. So like how did you have that clarity of like who you were and what you wanted to do?
That's a big one, but actually, it's always been there. As a person, I'm kind of a when I'm out of alignment of who I am truly, I get irritated, frustrated. I kind of evolve. I pursue the alignment.
Mm,
So my life has gone in these waves,
mm,
and my style to live my life and also to do my purpose is to go through these experiences, these sometimes tough initiations like bankruptcy, etc.
yeah.
So that is actually my medicine. That is actually my thing that I can help people because I've gone through that.
Mm,
I see them. I see them very deeply, and that's the resonance that
mm,
they get with me. And I know we both share this similar way of actually I kind of realized this year here in Croatia because I've had the stillness, I have had the break, I have had time to rest and rewind. That yes, I was thinking that yes, I'm on the other end, I'm the hardcore businesswoman, and I have done a lot of business, successful business, growing companies, etc. And then I'm on the other hand, a hardcore spiritual person. And then in the middle, there's maybe coaching and facilitation,
mm,
etc. And then I realized, huh, they doesn't have to be separate. They
mm,
are in one. they are in me.
Yeah.
And also because, for example, how I speak or write, the spiritual language actually didn't quite not fully sit with me. And I was like, that also, when you talk kind of at this spiritual language in business or corporate world, they're like, what is that woo woo?
Yeah.
So it's not respected.
Yeah, it's too emotional. It's too something. And it's more that it's not that it's too much or that it's even wrong, but it's like, oh, you're gonna make me feel something that I don't have the emotional intelligence and the social intelligence to handle. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna shut you down.
yeah. And that's why I also found my voice. I found how I could speak so that it's actually quite natural, also in business, to be a spiritual person, to understand your true self that, and honor that in other people as well. So, yeah, and it's been, and without this kind of a space and being somewhere else that I grew up with, in Finland, Hämeenlinna, and I think I needed this space to go away for a
Mhm.
while to get to realize all this stuff that I have realized during this time, and also to space to build my new brand and new offering.
Yep. And I liked what you said about how, like, you go through like these waves and you go through these experiences because we're meant to go through that. It's both our medicine and our cure,
Yes,
because it's like it becomes the thing that we're here to help other people through.
yes, and also, regarding the kind of like, when you're pushing stuff and you don't respect your own flow, and
Mhm.
we have different flows, not every person is the same. For example, my system has never fitted into the 9 to 5 rhythm. It's, or actually in Finland it's 8 to 4, and it's even worse for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like my rhythm is so that I can appreciate it. I need to function in my own rhythm,
Yeah.
and I made this space for that I can actually learn what is my rhythm.
Yep. And I giggle and I laugh because like Finland, Croatia, and we're what, like 6 to 7 hours apart, and like half the time, like where you are, you're going to sleep when I'm going to sleep.
Yes, I've said that I probably was made to US time zone. Yes, it's but it's true, and because I felt guilty and ashamed because I didn't like the early mornings. I was like, my brain didn't start to work until noonish. It's like, the if you think of a child that is not built for that rhythm,
Mhm.
she or he is in constant stress
Yep.
throughout all the schools and all this, and then they start going to work, if that's from 9 to 5, is even more stress.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're either always running late or you're tired, and it is that constant struggle. And like for me, like I'm more of that morning person, like, you know, not every morning, but most mornings, like I can get up, I can have like deep conversations, I can get a lot done. Like I can get a lot done in the time like when everybody else is asleep and starting to wake up. Um, but like by the afternoon, so like for me, when I worked at IBM, like there were times where, I was working with a team in either like China or India or somewhere where like by the time I was starting my day, they were shutting down. So in order to catch them, I had to do later at night, and I'd be like, oh God, I have to try and stay awake. And so again, it was like it's that struggle. But like things like school, it's about how do we dumb everybody down to like fit one mold, and screw you if you don't fit in this mold. You're the one that's bad and wrong, instead of saying no, this system doesn't work for my system, but I'm really intelligent, I'm really good at what I do, I just work better at in these hours.
Yeah.
And it's like allow people to be themselves. Allow, like, imagine how many kids who have thought that they were dumb because they don't function at 8 o'clock in the morning. But the school systems made them feel stupid because, well, what, how can you not like know how to do this yet? Like, and it's like, well, give me a few hours, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And instead, like, if if you if you allow parents to say, hey, like my kid, you know, doesn't wake up until this time, what school systems fit this time frame? Because there's got to be teachers who are not early morning people who want to sleep until 10 o'clock. And so starting school at 12 would be perfect for them and going later. So there's got to be teachers and kids that are aligned to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyway, I think it's even though the structure couldn't be changed, but then when the teachers have this awareness of that, well, nowadays I think at least in Finland there's a lot of awareness of different types of people. So that's really amazing that it's appreciated
Yeah.
and taken care of.
Here in the
Or
States, we have a lot of parents who are pulling their kids out of schools and either homeschooling, unschooling, things like that. There's a huge movement here, but it's not happening within our school systems.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's more. There's also people in Finland who are doing this whole homeschooling,
Yeah.
and also people who maybe work as a digital nomad than I. So they have children in homeschool.
Yeah. And I think that also goes to back to like our whole spiritual practice. Like we know that in order to change the system, like the corrupt systems that are everywhere in the world, we as the people have to come together and start doing these things. We are going to be the only ones that create the shifts that we want to see in the world. And until again we know ourselves, trust ourselves, embody ourselves, we're going to continue to allow these systems to control us versus saying, no, we're the ones with the power. We're either going to create our own systems, and you guys can split off, and anybody who wants that can stay in that, but we're doing this over here. It's up to us. And that's again, you need coaching, you need healing, you need all these things to help you get to that point that you feel confident enough to stand in your power and own it.
Mm,
So,
yes. And that's what I'm doing and helping for my clients or my uh, people who I cross with. And I think this sailing retreat is kind of a like space. That's why I wanted to create a space. Yes, there is a lot of. I'm looking at the sea here. It's like diamonds on the water. Um, so there's a lot of space and time to process all the things, and because I know that the work that I do is on very deep level, and think it's kind of like my energy works. The energy that I channel is very catalytic. So
mhm.
it creates the change in people, systems,
Yes.
organizations, environments. And that's why I think this kind of a sailing retreat is great, because then we can just let the change and the alignment come naturally in that kind of a open, spacious uh, element, like in the water, in the space where there's like-minded people, and we can just have fun and relax
Yeah.
there in the boat.
Yep. And I think like, the water element is like the emotions, the healing, the cleansing, you know, and I love like, the boat is like the masculine, the structure, the containment that then gives you, gives the feminine that space to like expand and explore and rest and really step into her power. And if I'm not mistaken, and I might be because I looked at it this morning, the name of your retreat is like something like BU or something along that line.
Return to yourself
Yeah.
at sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so like how better like in water, like because I'm sure you're going to be jumping in the sea and swimming and like cleansing yourself and releasing into mother nature like the emotions that have been holding us back.
Yes. Yes. And I think no better place than water to do that, and
Yeah.
to be in kind of a like in the flow of nature. For example, why I love more sailing boats than a motorboat, because
Mhm.
when you're traveling in a sailing boat, you're sailing and you need to respect the flow of nature.
Ooh, yeah.
If it's not windy, you're not going anywhere unless you put the motor on. So and it's kind of like, and also the silence when there's no motor.
Hmm.
It's kind of a you only hear the nature, you only hear the water, and maybe the giggling friends that you are there with, but it's kind of a like your nervous system, or at least my nervous system, relaxes on the water in the sailing boat.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that you bring up like the noise and the nervous system. The other day I was putting gas in my car, and you hear the noise of the traffic, and then this guy had his motorcycle and he revved it really loud, and I'm like my body like I could feel my nervous system going oh, and I remember the TV show Outlander. And she's going back and forth between like the 1940s and 1600s or whatever it is, like back and forth, and then like ends up back in her time frame, but a little bit later, where like there's these cars, and she talks about like how noisy it is all of a sudden,
Mm.
and how like when she goes back to the past, there's that quiet. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, imagine that quiet. And like how much calmer we would all be. Not that like there was a lot of violence and stuff, obviously, during that time, but like, if we had the peace and the quiet, what would be possible? 1 second.
I just have to think. Wash with warm salt water, pack it. Don't let me fall asleep with it packed
Okay.
because he's afraid it's going to become impacted. He said, if I fall asleep, I have to get the gauze out.
Okay.
He said, put gauze in.
Okay.
Don't let me fall asleep with gauze.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. I said to my son that now it's your silent retreat in your room for 1 hour.
But it is that like how much, and again, like there's great things about technology and corporations and things like that, but there's also like this impact on our nervous system that actually isn't conducive to life. We're constantly bombarded by things. We're all at such high levels of cortisol and stress that we don't even know, and we think it's normal, and we think like all the illnesses that we're dealing with, the inflammation, the pain, the hormones, all these things, that it's normal, but it's not. And it's like until we step back, and again, we have to empower ourselves to say, this is actually not the right way for me to be.
Yeah.
And imagine if we all did that, how different the world would be in just a matter of 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And now people who are listening to this, I also want to highlight that it's not necessary you to know how to sail, or even if you have ever been on a boat, sailing boat before. But of course, it would be good if you know that you are not friends with water or etc. Because we are sailing, but it's very calm waters here in Croatia. Then it's starting on 29th of August
Mm.
and ending 5th of September. So here will be really blissful turquoise waters like here in the picture behind me. So it's
What can somebody like what besides just sailing and being in the water and everything, like what can people who sign up for it, like what are they, like what kinds of things are you gonna do on the boat as part of the retreat?
well, this is if I say about the program, I will tailor make that to the persons who will join, because it depends on what are their wishes and to what is the intention for them for the trip. And I will design the program then, but it will not be packed, it will be spacious.
Mhm.
Our energy together, we co-create that space.
I like that.
And of course I will be we probably do energy work early on when we start to kind of catalyze the alignments,
Mhm.
and do different kind of a small practices along the way, what is needed. But many times mostly it's needed the space to be, you don't have to kind of like you are freed from any busy weeks you might have back home. So
Mhm.
there's no emails you need to respond, no calls if you don't want to. And so you are kind of, it's all for you. It's a week for yourself. So we all can leave our roles in the harbor. And but in the boat, the daily rhythm is up to us. So we, as a group, we will discuss about it. And but it's my intention is to create a space that everybody can feel safe
Mhm.
and relaxed, and we respect everybody's flow. And we have also a very skilled skipper, and she is very skilled also to make these sailing experiences. So it's not only me. So I'm mainly in charge of the spiritual program, and Maya is in charge of our safety and the boat and our journey.
Yep.
And probably well, everything, because we are sailing, our skipper will be designing the uh, route based on, of course, the weather as well.
Mhm.
But our idea is to first sail from Split area, depending which harbor we take the boat. From there to see the waterfalls in Kurka
Ooh.
National Park,
Oh
which is
wow.
beautiful. It's really beautiful. And it's even more beautiful, the route there, because there is very scenic way, kind of a it's not a fjord, but nor a river, but the sea kind of goes into inland, and
Oh, wow.
it's really really beautiful. So we will sail there. Usually people go by car there, but we can
Mhm.
sail there, and we go to see the waterfalls, which are beautiful. And then we come back and we sail along the islands. And depending, we will have a webinar before the trip. So we will discuss together what people would like to do, what kind of places they would like to visit, and we plan accordingly the route. But as we know, we are on the sea. Changes might happen. It's not. And if we see that, okay, we don't want to, one day we just want to relax and swim in a quiet bay and just be, so then we'll just change our plans. So
Yes.
kind of a relaxed sailing and being together in that space.
I like that. And is it men and women or just women?
That's this trip is only for women. I have both clients, so I'm not only having women as my clients, but this is only for women. And I'm right now I'm doing series of digital recordings that are also Return to Yourself.
Mm.
That's a series. So every participant will get this recording series
Oh, nice.
that I will create. So there's 7 different recordings that they will receive also.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah. So there's, for example, there's daily practices for daily energy clearing, daily alignment. There's when you're overwhelmed or you have been with the people, and if you're sensitive, you're overwhelmed, so you can get back to yourself. Also, some daily nervous system regulation, etc. So
And I'm sure like being in Croatia and stuff, there's going to be a lot of healthy food that you're going to be eating on the trip.
yes. So basically, we will eat the breakfast and light lunch on the boat. Um, and then we'll arrange the dinners in different locations. These nice villages is a typical, well, actually, behind me, this kind of scenery is that there's a small harbor, then there's this village or town, depending on which is if it's bigger or smaller. There's a lot of these small villages, and we'll see a lot of nice places and eat good food.
And good nourishing foods are another thing that like help the nervous system, help us get back to ourselves. Because I was talking with my boyfriend, like um, so many of the processed foods and like here in the States, like so much of our restaurant foods are made with like the cheapest ingredients, seed oils and things that like actually make our bodies feel horrible. But where you are, it's more that Mediterranean type diet, like the fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that, with probably a little bit of meats mixed in or fish.
Seafood, yes, and they make create olive oil here in Croatia.
Mm.
They have these olive gardens. They grow lavender here, and oh, I have. If we just have, we probably have time. We pop by to the island branch to Supatar. There's one place that you can get exquisite. I have this. Olive oil lavender balm that I use for my lips and everywhere you could putting it. But my jar is getting empty, so I need to get more. And there's a lot of they have these local ingredients: eucalyptus, lavender, olive oil, etc. So they are so beautiful, and they are not actually as expensive at all. So I'm arranging probably a visit with them when we sail. So this type of here's so much lovely places. For example, in this island, Kirk Island, where I'm now at, there's these sheep farms. They sell all this sheep produce cheeses,
Mhm.
meats, fur, everything. And there's olive gardens and different. So this is really rich in a kind of a local and natural food. And I don't know, but I've I've baked buns here from local flowers, and they taste so much better than the flour we have in Finland.
Yep. And it's that, like, here in the States, when you start to like change your diet for like the typical unhealthy American diet, or like all the restaurants here, at first like food doesn't taste that good, and then like as your body starts to heal and you realize how sweet like fruits and vegetables really are, like you actually get to taste them, and then like when you go back to the synthetic stuff and you're like, ugh, how did I ever like that?
Yes, and it's I feel also that creation, and as a country, I have my landlord is this um all this he works around, he's an engineer, he works around this what is this, sun energy and all the natural energy things here in Croatia. So they have focus on keeping things as natural as you can have. So that's why I also love here, even though Finland is not a bad choice, and that's my homeland, but I love it here. And my son doesn't want to go back.
Nice, warm. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back to.
Yeah. Well, we'll go back in summer to Finland, but I'll come back then in August.
Nice.
To my sailing trip.
So if somebody wants to learn more, where do they need to go to find more information?
Well, I can post the link into your post, and my website is quantumalchemy.earth. So there's, in my library where I have all my services, there is this retreat, and so that's maybe the easiest way. Perfect. And of course, if somebody is willing to join and wants to discuss more, I'm happy to have a personal discussion, and they can contact me straight on my messenger or wherever they can find my my contact info.
Perfect. Well, this was a great conversation. I like just looking at the photo behind you. I'm like, oh, I want to be there. Now I just have to like manifest the funds to get there.
Yes. Yes, actually, now that I'm showing the boat, is that maybe somebody...
Is that the boat that you would actually be on?
No, this is just a big picture, but probably I think Bavaria 55 is kind of the class where we are. So there's space for 12 people. We are selling eight spots, and three are reserved for me and Maya, and we have also kind of a hostess or assistant on the board that is assisting me and Maya and the group with stuff. So but of course it's a boat, it's close, we are close. There is 4 probably double beds. There might be a twin bed, but usually they are double beds in the boat. And the crew will have probably the bunk bed, kind of a smaller bunk bed. But anyway, it's kind of like, if you already know that you don't like to be in that smaller space with other people that long, maybe this is not for you. But also, we probably are there inside the boat during the nights, and maybe when we eat, and that's it. And probably we are eating on the deck, because on that size of a boat, there's also the space to eat on the deck as well. So and during the days, we will arrange time to people to actually they can be alone. So if somebody needs a space, we will arrange that. So it's not that we are glued to each other the whole week.
That's nice to hear because I like even going to like my best friend's house, like, there's times where it's like, okay, I need like 10-15 minutes by myself in my room to like decompress. I love you guys and I enjoy my time, but like I just need a little bit like by myself. So like that's good to hear.
Yeah, and that we will arrange and respect also people's needs to be quiet and be by themselves, etc. So that will be, and we will leave somewhere around Split area, and we come back to the same spot.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, this was great. Thank you so much. Um, And I will, if anybody has any questions, like, please post comments here. Both myself and Kati will answer questions that we can. Connect with Kati on Facebook if you're not already connected to her. All of that information will be in the description, in the comments. And, like I love how in alignment our journey has been since we've been connected.
Yes. Well, we are the sisters from
Yeah.
another mother. Yes.
Oh,
And thank you so much, Megan, for this
yeah.
opportunity. And I'm really happy to help anybody who would like to hear more or then just to connect. So I'm on my own name, Kati Stolt. I'm in Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can connect, and so happy. I would be really happy to have you also on the board.
I, hopefully. Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Well, enjoy your day.
Thank you.
We have here, I'm in Finland, they are celebrating today the 1st of May, and I heard it's also a celebration day here, but I haven't seen much in the village here, so it's been quite quiet.
Well, wonderful. All right, I'm gonna stop all the recordings. So give me just a minute.
Yes, thank you.